straight to tonight's Out in the Open panel. Air America radio host Rachel Maddow, Niger Innes, a political consultant and national spokesman for CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality, and CNN contributor Roland Martin. Welcome all. So, Rachel, it seems the Vice President's got very comfortable playing the role of the bad cop. But where does this confrontation really go from here when we know the President's going to veto this bill and he's not going to allow the Democrats to force change on his Iraq policy?
Well, the President has said that he was going to veto it almost no matter what was in it. He hadn't seen a final bill before he started giving those veto threats. The Democrats, I think, were right to not back down and say, well, if you're going to veto it, we're going to ask for exactly what we want at the same time. The Democrats, I think, are playing a very hard hand here. They're pushing him as hard as they possibly can. The President just wants to keep staying the course, and he's going to have to pay the price for it.
Part of this is theatrics?
Well, I mean, what is the Congress supposed to do? The Congress can pass legislation, tell the President what they want. The President has the right to veto that legislation. They're both doing what they're constitutionally capable of doing. The problem is that it's not two sides of the same coin. It's not just a tit-for-tat fight. Nancy Pelosi is right when she says that the Democrats have put forward what the American people have said they want to do on Iraq. It's the White House that's holding firm.
Are the Democrats emboldening the enemy by suggesting the withdrawal of the troops on this very specific timetable?
Well, there are two losers in this, or maybe probably even more than that. The troops are losing because they're not getting the funding that they need. Republicans are losing and Democrats are losing. The only one winner here are the enemies. Exactly right. Al-Qaeda plays, important to understand this, this is a front in the global war on terror. It's not just one war in Iraq. It's not like we leave tomorrow and everything's peachy keen. We're still at war with Islamic extremists that want to kill us. So the question is, are we giving them the propaganda fuel for their fire to rally up their troops? Absolutely, yes.
The Democrats...
And Rachel is wrong, by the way. The President said that when you give a timetable, I will veto this bill. Timetable is a problem, Rachel.
Roland, is this an ethical issue, as Nancy Pelosi suggested, or just a political stunt?
Well, it is a political issue, but also keep in mind there are thousands of U.S. soldiers that have been killed. We've seen a number, 9 on yesterday. And so people are very concerned about their sons and daughters coming back home alive. So that is the critical issue. This is not political theater. Remember, when Newt Gingrich, Speaker of the House, and Bill Clinton, when he was president, they squared off over the budget. That was a war of wills. Bill Clinton won, had an impact. Democrats were able to regain Congress. And so this is what you have going on here. Now, what I find to be interesting is Dick Cheney wants to criticize Senator Harry Reid by saying, well, you're using this troop pullout for political purposes when Karl Rove used the war on terror and spoke of it for 2 consecutive elections as a way to aid the Republicans. And so both sides are trying to use the war.
You've got some points. You have some points here. It's not a question of how we got into this war, and we can say that it was not correct the way we got into this war, but we're at war with Al-Qaeda right now, the people that attacked us, and we're giving them fuel for their propaganda fire right now.
Congressman Dennis Kucinich today said not only, hang on, Roland, did they get this wrong, that this administration out and outright lied and misled the American public, and he called for the impeachment of the Vice President today. Let's listen to what he had to say.
These articles are filed in response to the question of who are we as a nation that we can let high public officials violate the law with impunity, take us into war that are based on lies.
All right, we know that one of the harshest critics of this war, John Murtha, thinks this isn't a very good idea on Mr. Kucinich's part.
Yeah.
What's the point of this exercise?
The point of this is that there should be an inquiry. The point of this, I agree with Dennis Kucinich for doing this, and I don't agree with him on everything, but I agree with him on this because what he has done by filing these articles of impeachment is telling the Judiciary Committee, decide if you think there ought to be an inquiry into this. We know that Dick Cheney played a central role in the outing of a CIA officer for political reasons.
We know that issue of Iraq.
Yes, and he continues to maintain, to lie, to misrepresent what we know about the relationship between Iraq and Al-Qaeda, Iraq and 9/11. Those are big things. I think that we ought to look into whether they're high
biggest thing right now
to attack Dick Cheney. When people perceive him as the chief architect of this war, doesn't he deserve some criticism in the prosecution of this war?
For me, what is much more relevant...
No, but answer the question. I don't care whether you think it's relevant.
I think time and place is important. And I think the relevance of what we're fighting right now in Iraq is 10 times more important than scoring political points
Roland
against
Martin,
Dick
you
Cheney.
get the last word.
Look, very simply, we should have an inquiry, and the bottom line is Dick Cheney wants to maintain that Iraq was involved in 9/11, and we simply know that it's not the truth.
Stay right there. We got a lot more to talk about tonight.